Hi, I'm Rap. Welcome to Pluralsight's module on clickjacking. Black Hat hackers are an incredibly innovative bunch. While we're working on ways to thwart their schemes, they're already at work on new ways to get around ours. One of the relatively new attacks is one called clickjacking. This is a particularly nefarious way to trick you and I into clicking on something without us knowing we're doing it. Let's look at how it works. A clickjacking attack involves the hacker creating a page with some innocent-looking affordance that you or I would want to click on. Let's call this the lure. Then the hacker superimposes a portion of another page on top of that page, carefully positioning it so that what he wants you to click on is immediately on top of the lure. Lastly, he makes that top page invisible. Now, if you've ever looked at cross-site request forgery, you may be thinking that this is similar. And it is. They both are an attempt to trick you and me, the victim, into doing something on the web page that the attacker wants you to do. And we never knew it was happening. Our protection against cross-site request forgery in most cases was to require all surfers to actually click on something. Requiring an active click foils a cross-site request forgery attack. So, clickjacking was the hacker's response. The hacker said, "Oh, I need my victims to click on something? Well, how can I trick them into doing that?" So the clickjacking attack was born. In order to put another invisible page on top of the lure, we obviously need to put it in something, and an iframe seems to work. Let's take a look at a demo. What we have here are two websites. Let's pretend like website is your e-commerce business. It may look something like this. Your customer might search for a product. There you go, that one looks good. And let's add it to the cart. And then maybe they would want to check out or something like that. But of course, if they were going to check out, they would have to log in first. Now, please notice what's in the cart right now. Now, let's say that somehow the hacker had tricked you into going to his page. Maybe he sent you an email with a phishing link, and it took you to this page. And let's pretend like the hacker's website might look something like this. There's a video with an enticing button for you to click on. If you go and you click on this button, then, well, it didn't seem like anything happened. But watch this. If we go back to the cart, and then I refresh it, you can see that a new item has been added. Now that was added from the clickjacking page. And here is how that worked. Watch this. I wrote this so that when you check this box, it shows what's happening in the clickjacking iframe. So the previously invisible iframe would have been made visible. So here's a refresh of the page. And you'll notice that there is an Add to Cart button. This iframe, which is now transparent, has been placed on top of so that when you clicked on the video, you're actually clicking on this Add to Cart button. So watch. If I make it invisible, this is what the user would actually see. But just for demo purposes, we're making it sort of visible. So when I click on it, it adds that product to the cart. That's how a clickjack attack works. So if you have a website that you don't want to be put inside of a hidden iframe, how do you protect yourself? There's a couple of options. Number one is called frame breaking scripts, and the second is X-frame options. What you do is in every one of your pages that you don't want to be put inside of an iframe, you'll put some script either at the top of the page or someplace where it's going to be executed immediately. It should check if top not equal self, then top location equal location. What this does for us is it says essentially if the top level frame inside of this browser is not me, then make me the top level. It causes your page to break out of the frame and make itself the top level location, so that when the user visits the attacker's evil website, what he really sees is your page not inside of a frame but as the top level. The hacker's nefarious page is completely gone. They don't even see it. And this was the classic protection against frame breaking. But remember the cat and mouse game that we play with hackers. They found multiple ways of breaking our frame breaking. Let me show you a few. If the hacker creates some new variable called location, then the frame-breaking location sets this new variable instead of the browser's. Then they go ahead and they frame yours. So inside your script, when you try and set location, you're actually setting this variable. That overrides the breaking of the frame. Another method is overriding on before unload. Every page has got the potential to have an on before unload event, which fires when you try and leave the page. So if the user visits the hacker's page, as soon as he puts your page inside of a frame and your frame breaking runs, it tries to leave the main page. But his on before unload script fires, which then pops up some question that you would answer no to, like, can I read all your addresses or something like that. When the user answers no, it returns false, and they end up staying on the hacker's page. Or this method. If a browser receives a flood of 204, which is just it's an information kind of a message, if they receive a bunch of 204 no contents, then the browser assumes that it's in some kind of an endless loop or recursion, and it cancels all JavaScript. It just flushes the buffer, which then would include, of course, the frame breaking. So all the hacker would have to do is put some script like this, and it'll stop your JavaScript from running. Now, it's not important that you actually understand all of these. The important thing is this, that despite what you might hear about frame breaking being the fix, there are multiple ways to circumvent frame breaking. These that I've shown you, and there are several that I haven't. So, let's move on to a technique that may be better for you. Remember, our goal is to keep our pages from being placed in someone else's iframe. And there's a new option. It's called X-frame options. This is a variable which is an HTTP header variable, and it can be set to several values. The two that we care about are deny or same origin. If you set X-frame options to deny, that will cause the browser to never display that page in any frame under any circumstances. Same origin does the same thing, except that it will allow that page to be displayed in an iframe if that iframe came from the same server. So, the hacker can't frame your page, and you can't fall victim to them, and neither can your visitors. Now, this sounds like a great solution, but the downside is this. Not all browsers support this yet, and until everybody upgrades to a capable browser, there is a danger that one of your visitors might be surfing on an old browser. They might go to the hacker's page, which then puts your page inside the iframe. And even though X-frame options are there, it won't be honored by the browser, so they'll stay on the page. Let's see how our demo would work if we use X-frame options. I'm going to go to the detail page for products. And in here, we'll simply, in page load, do this. Now let's run the website again. Now if I look at the details for any product, it still works. But now when I run the clickjacking attack, the frame is there, but there's nothing in it because the page refused to be put inside of a frame. So if a user is tricked into visiting the attacker's page, he won't even see anything in the iframe. So you can click all day and nothing happens. Once again, clickjacking works like this. A hacker stands up some website, and inside that website, he puts an iframe. The iframe is placed on top of the other content, but it's positioned such that you'll be trying to click on something which is underneath. Now, inside that iframe, he puts in some page from your website, and he's trying to trick the user into clicking on something on your website. It's our responsibility as developers to protect our users from this kind of attack. So what we should do is put in protections. And we have two major options. One is called frame breaking. The other is X-frame options. The problem is that frame breaking can be broken. It can be overridden by hackers. And X-frame options is not supported by all browsers. So the best solution is to do both. Defense in depth. Put some frame breaking scripts at the top of your page, and then also include the HTTP header X-frame options.